Good evening and welcome to Standing Out in a World of Canva Clones. It's my really mean and nasty way, I guess, of saying that sometimes Canva graphics can be a little bit meh, a little bit boring, a little bit same old, and nothing really much going on with them in any other way. So what we're going to do is try and correct that. I'm just going to unshare my screen and say, hi, how you doing? I'm Dante St James, and I'll be taking you through this next hour where we'll have a look at going into Canva and making it very much your own, working with your brand, working with lots of different things in Canva that you may not be so sure that you knew that they were there before. So I'm going to reshare that screen and we'll get started again so you can have a look at sort of more of the ins and outs of Canva. I like this quote because it really, to me, sort of sums up the whole idea of Canva. That we see so many pictures like this showing up in Canva. The reality is no one's desk looks like this in real life. It really doesn't. People don't have desks that look this clean. I know mine certainly doesn't. My desk is a mess of, oh, I don't know, like pens over here and cords over there. I've got two mobile phone boxes. I've got a hand sanitizer, which I'll just rub on now. It's been a couple of hours. We've got glasses, cases, a plate, and a can of Pepsi over on the side here. It's not the exciting, wonderful, beautiful, like, who has a leaf sitting on their desk like this one does? So don't be afraid to do something that's a bit different from the usual Canva look, which is very clean, very sparse, very much like this. It's also assuming that everybody has MacBook Pro laptop computers, which is definitely not the case at all. What we're going to look at today is thanks to the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Digital Solutions Program in conjunction with, I'm treading over my words and slipping over my words today, in conjunction with Business Station, Regional Development Australia in Brisbane, and Treaty Business Consulting in the Northern Territory. A bit about me, I've been educated through Western Sydney University, University of New South Wales, the Chartered Institute of Marketing in the UK. I didn't go to the UK, I wish I had them, although given that I did my final studies with them back in 2018, probably would have been good to go there before now because you can't get out of the country right now. I've also been extensively trained through Facebook's Blueprint Trainer Network. So I'm part of a lead trainer network of 7 people in Australia for Facebook, Australia, and New Zealand, as well as with Digital Marketing Associate, Media Planning, Media Buying, Creative Strategy. And I missed one, but I remember what it is later on, another badge that they gave me as well. I work with Google's Digital Springboard program and 3 federal government programs because I don't like to sleep, which is the ASBAS Digital Solutions that you're joining us through now, and the Be Connected program, which is connecting Australians, particularly in the older segments of Australia, with online services and tools, and the new business assistance with the new enterprise incentive scheme through the Australian government as well. Really proud to be representing all of those products and all those services, but even more proud to be looking at this blank screen, which is basically because what we're going to look at today is going to be up to you. So if you're on this call, I'd love you to throw in some questions. I'd love you to throw in some ideas and go, well, what can we do? What can we do to get a bit more out of our Canva? Or what is it that we can do that will make us look a little bit different or a little bit more, bring out our brand further forward? And we'll look at your examples. I've set no agenda in here except that we're going to make this a nice interactive course that we're going to get some ideas out of to do our own stuff. So what I'm going to do first of all, start up with Canva. So on this screen, you can see right now, this is the Canva welcome screen. Now I've got the paid version of Canva. The only main thing I'm going to get is that I am going to get a few more stock photos and a few more stock videos of what you are. And yeah, maybe a few more elements and stuff like that. But overall, most of the features are going to be the same. So I've got Julia saying that she'd like to get rid of PowerPoint and bring out your brand in a presentation. Oh, I'll tell you right now, Canva's brilliant at that. So that presentation I was just showing you before, that's in Canva. So remember I was showing you this here? That is a Canva presentation that I created based upon one of these templates over on the left. So we'll definitely look at that. We're going to look at, I guess, some social media graphics, because that one comes up quite a lot. People want their social media graphics to look original. They want them to stand out. They want them to look good. We're also going to look at a few things like creating video and using Canva to create really cool video with video in the background, video that you can add from your own phone or from your own collection. And we'll also look at potentially, I think, looking at creating a few more other kinds of presentations and graphics as well. So the first thing you need to know in Canva is basically create a design up here. And that's where everything starts. So I just typed in the word Facebook earlier, and this is all the different shapes and templates it's going to have for different things in Canva for Facebook. So for instance, if I wanted to do my Facebook cover image, I could pop that out and it gives me the dimensions for a Facebook cover image. Now the Facebook cover image, if I go to Facebook now, is not actually, you know what? Let's create this because I'm actually in the middle of creating a graphic for a Facebook event. So this Facebook event is going to be about a little clubhouse. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. I won't go into it, but an audio presentation of a bunch of experts in digital marketing who are coming together to have a bit of an open talk with potentially hundreds of people on that platform, which is all a whole lot of fun. But what I want to do is create this graphic in here, this one that's sitting right here. I want to create a better version of it. So to do that, I can go into my Canva account. Now, I originally was going to do a Facebook event, Facebook cover. I want now a Facebook event cover. So that shape there, which is pretty much the same size. It gives me the right shape, and now it lays out for me a whole lot of different templates I can choose from. It shows me things that I've used recently. It can show me things that I've done that I might have used before. So give me some ideas. Or I can type in something which I want to say blue. If I want the blue themes, it'll show me more blue stuff. Or if I want to look at maybe digital marketing, it'll show me things around digital marketing because that's what that's actually about. So it gives me stuff like digital advertising approach here. It gives me a whole lot of ideas I can run with that are going to be a lot more geared towards what I'm doing. So this one looks good. I want a different background to that. So I like the feel of that. That's going to look quite good in this spot here, but I want it to be maybe a little bit less Facebooky and a little bit more across the different people who will be participating in this. So let's just pick out again. I'm going to say Clubhouse expert panel, and then the subject of that particular event, justifying the return on attention in your marketing. I can find that again in a version that I can copy. So I'll take out that, and then I can change any of these elements. So I may want to change this photo because that photo doesn't really work for us. I might just say digital. So I've got a nice little cool background like that. And then change that, join us on Clubhouse. And one of the things I'll do on this, and just doesn't, it looks a little bit, you know, I could do more with this. One of the things I don't like about this font here is that it's kind of gone, well, I don't really want that to be that far apart. So the line gap between the top line and the second line is a little bit, I want to get that down a bit. So I'll take it down to maybe 1.2 if that looks a bit closer. Or I can just go in there, 1.2, and then start to make it a little bit more me. Now, to me, that's still a bit meh. I want to do a bit more with that. So let's try and actually make it so that there's a little bit, you know, this font, I don't like it. I'm going to take a different font and change it to Product Sans. Problem is though, I've copied in a font which has been hard coded in. So I need to get rid of all that. Start again. There you go. So it's called justifying, find it here, justifying the return on attention in your marketing. So that's now in a font that I like a lot better, and it's the way I want it to look. Join us in Clubhouse. I can also then start to maybe put together the photos of the people who are taking part in this. So I can go, okay, the first person I've got joining us in there, her name is Tracy Sheen. So I'm going to grab her photo because her photo is very much about who she is. This one here, oh, a lovely lady. Get her, pop her in there. And I've just copied that, like a Control-C. I'm going to then just paste that in. There we go. There she is. So I'm going to put her up there. Then I'm going to grab Joe Saunders, who's the other person who's going to be in there. Well, I hope we're friends with. There she is. Yep, we're friends. So I'll grab her image, throw her in as well, and try and match that up. So it sits right there flush with Tracy. And I'll grab my photo as well, because I'm on this one too. So I'll grab this photo, copy that one. I call that photo 10 kilos ago, not 2 years ago. Because the years don't seem to be anywhere near as significant as the kilos I put on in those 2 years, huh? So now I see that it's not going to fit in there, so I'm going to make them all a bit smaller so they fit nicer. Log me down. They're all looking roughly even now. Select them all, stretch it into place like that. And now I've got something which is a little bit more what I'm after. Now I can look at that and go, that looks actually a little bit too busy now. So if I want to clean that up a bit, I might choose a different background image. Maybe something not, well, I probably shouldn't go anything with MacBook Pros in it like this, but this is roughly what it looked like. That looks cleaner, it looks neater, but that's kind of what I'm trying to move away from. These perfect clean desks, and maybe not the thing I actually want to add in there. Or I can add something which looks a little bit more dynamic, maybe. Something like this. So that looks like it'd be kind of a nice heading for it. So now if I want to download that, just download. It's doing a, I want to download as a PNG file because that's a high quality version. As that's now downloading onto my desktop, I can then go into Facebook and get ready to upload and replace that image. So if I go back into here, edit, upload my photo, and now I've created a much nicer, more appropriate thing that's going to be displaying what this particular, now that looks way better. That looks like the kind of thing I was after. Way, way nicer. And I've created something that's very much my own, not just replicating a template, I've actually gone in there and made that template my own. The same thing can happen across just about any kind of placement you want to do. Now, I do literally hundreds of these a month in terms of these. I've got little templates that go backwards and forwards all the time. This is a template I use for my YouTube videos. So if I go onto my YouTube channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. In my channel, see, I've got this, they all look pretty much the same. So I'll create a nice, consistent approach across my YouTube channel. All I do is take this one particular thing and change that little lightning bolt to yellow. And there you go. That's that one. But I'm also using that on my website. So if I go over to here, I'm using the blue version of it on my website. So again, I just change it over to the blue, take my yellow, change that color there, change to blue, and there's the blue version. I've also got a version that appears on this website. It's going to find the right page for it. Let's go pages. This is a very, very interactive one. So please jump in and ask a question if you need to. I know we're going to be looking at presentations, so that's going to be a good place to start. I'll pop into my home screen, view. No, it's not the home one, it's a post. Sorry, wrong page. I'm getting there. These unplanned ones are so much more different than doing a very planned one. So there you go. There's a pink version I do for this particular site. So when I'm doing it on this site, I just take that same thing and change it over to pink. And that particular element then becomes something that's very consistent across all my different channels. Now, if you want to, this is really good, Julie. You're asking when do I splice that in the front of my YouTube video? I use a program that's actually an online program called Flixia. So I'll just go there. I won't spend too much time. This is not really on the topic. But this particular tool here is what I use because I don't want to use something locally on my computer because it takes up too much resources and it's going to take nearly 15 minutes to render that video on my computer. And it makes my computer completely unusable for that 15 minutes. So I use this particular program to do it. So a very quick example of how I do that is that once it opens up, brings open my projects. So if I pop into this one, for instance, this was one I did from, I think I put it up yesterday on Facebook and YouTube that allows me to then put different things in front of stuff. So in this one, I've just cut down the video that was recorded through Zoom. And when I go to export it, it then allows me to do a custom thumbnail. So I can pick up my custom thumbnail and go, okay, this one here is the one I want. There it is. So if I go to YouTube and I post it to YouTube and post it to Facebook, it then allows me to do custom thumbnails. In this case, it's inherited that from the main one. And I can set those just there. And as I export that off to, I tell it I want it to go to my YouTube channel. I tell it I want it to go to my Facebook channel, change the channel I want it to go to, that one particularly. And then when I export, that creates that, does it all in the background on their servers and sends it away. So a little bit of an aside there, that wasn't really a Canva thing, but it show you that how we then use this to do all this stuff. So now we've got all this, we've done that, we've been able to do some sort of brand templates, I suppose we could call them. Let's look at doing something like a presentation. So something that's like a PowerPoint presentation. So in Canva, what we do is create a design. We're going to put down presentation, which for me is at the top because I make so many of them. And the first thing it's going to do is give me a whole bunch of templates on the side. Now, I want these templates to be something which is matching what I'm doing. So I might say desert. Let's just say if I'm looking for something that's in a desert. So it hasn't got anything that sort of matches that, or I can go wildlife and see if there's a wildlife. So we've got a few saving the earth kind of things, something like that, camping survival tips. So this will give me a full set of deck that I can work with. So I can start off with this first page and then maybe change that, say for an example, as a photo of, let's say, Northern Territory. We're going to grab some images from Canva's stock photography. Now, admittedly, these ones are all pro. These are ones I get because I actually pay, but I can then go and change that to say, I only want to see free stuff. So I'll take it down to just the free stuff for the Northern Territory, which unfortunately is going to be mostly Northern Territory of Canada, which is their Northern Territory, not our Northern Territory. So it's not going to give us a lot, but what we can then pull out is something like in the free stuff, we can go desert. And then we can start to see a bit more desert imagery. Not particularly Australian, but that sand looks kind of nice. I drag that over and drop it, and then it changes the complete outlook of it. So the presentation size I use, sorry, Julia, is 16:9. So that's the default. That's the size of a screen, or the size of a TV screen or a monitor. It's the general shape of a TV screen or a presentation screen, or even using something like a projector screen is all 16:9. So that's immediately giving me a whole different feel for that. So I can continue on, go adding the new page back to my template over on the top left, and it gives me all the other pages I can use. So it's got a bit of a layout on how you would normally do a presentation. So what we will learn today, I might want to add in another picture in place of that. That's not the picture I want. So go back in, add some more pictures of deserts. So the Mojave Desert in, I think it's Mojave Desert in California. And then I continue on and create what I want, overwriting anything I want to do. So instead of why go camping, I can say camping equipment. This is just the what you're going to learn today screen. It was very much like when I did this one for my particular presentation. It's their version in this particular template. And then you'll notice in this template, there's like how many, 26 different pages. So if I apply them all, it is now laid out all 26 pages as now creating them all, create every one of those 26 pages. So I can just go in, use their flow and just type in over the top what I actually want. So it's giving you a real end-to-end example of, that's a lot of pages, 26 pages, an end-to-end example of a complete camping presentation that you might want to do. And then you just type in what's on there. So their flow goes from a page to open it up to a what we'll learn today to a bit of a quote. So this is really similar to what I do. In my one I did, I always start off with a flow of my opening screen that I have to have from Business Station. I do a quote, and then I go and introduce myself. And usually I'll look at what we're going to do today ahead of myself. So I usually go quote, then I'll jump down to what we're going to look at today, and then I'll introduce a bit about myself before we get into the meat of that particular presentation. So this one, they've gone a little bit different. They've gone for a more classic flow, which is what we're going to learn. Here's a quote, here's a bit of a terminology, and then we get into what the actual content of the presentation is going to be. Now, this is just one particular one. We can just go, you know what, I'm just going to completely replace this with a completely different kind of one. And let's go for get out of wildlife and let's do consultant. There's any consultants on the call today. Some of these are really cool. So this is for rules and reminders for online classes. This was something which was used for kids in schools to be able to give parents and kids how to do online school, how to do homeschooling through online tools like Zoom and Microsoft Teams. So in this case, this one has got 16 pages. I can apply all 16 pages if I want to see and use their particular flow. So their particular flow starts off again. Here's a welcome, a quote, which is not going to go down that well on kids. And then when you start going into what the actual meat of it is. So and you can see these are absolutely gorgeous templates. And this is a free one. This is actually a free template. Not all of them are free. Some of them you will have to pay for. But the beautiful thing is there's no pay per template. You just pay the subscription fee. It's about $17 Australian. And then you get access to all of this. So you're not actually missing out on too much. So as you go down, you can change any of these items. And you can also use any of these like this little guy here. We can take him and put him up here if we want to. Just copy him, paste him, insert him into this particular screen, or take other elements such as maybe these little stars up here. I can pick those out and go to another page, say this one, and put little stars on this page and drag them around wherever I want them to be. So anything on any of these pages you can pick up and take to other places. You can also expand and contract the size of anything you want. So all the elements are changeable. The only things you might have a bit of a struggle with is sometimes these background bits are not quite where they think they are. Like that background there is it's like a great big pill-shaped shape. But you can change things like the background color. At the moment, it's blue. If I go up to there, I click on the background blue, go up here, and I can change that to a light pink, which matches his shirt and hair, or go into something like that, which makes it stand out just that little bit nicer. So there we go. We've got ability to be able to create some really, really beautiful stuff that doesn't look too Canva-ish, I guess, because people are not really necessarily doing these presentations as much as Canva as what they're doing in something like, for instance, I don't know, PowerPoint. Like death by PowerPoint, we call it, because there's so many PowerPoint presentations look exactly the same. So if we pop in now, we're going to pop out of that one and go and look at creating something that's, say, for instance, on social media. So we can go and look at what a Facebook post may be. So if I type in Facebook again, it's going to give us some ideas of shapes of stuff to do. So it's saying a cover image, a post, that's what I want. So it gives me the best possible post for a best possible shape for a post on Facebook. It's not quite square like it is on Instagram. It's just going to fill a bit more gap. Then what it's going to do is throw me a whole bunch of ideas of what my post may want to be. So whilst you can pick up any of these, say the bake sale with the lovely cookies on it, because it's about dinner time for me and I'm hungry, it gives us a chance then to look at it and go, okay, you know what? I am looking for this. I want to change some of these things, maybe change the cookies out to something else. I might be looking for what we call an element. So any of these things can be swapped out. I'm going to take rid of those cookies, and I decided that I want to add in cupcake. So elements are almost like animations or drawings of different stuff. So I look at cupcakes. I'm going to pick up one of these cupcakes. Now, bear in mind, as I hover over these, it tells me if they're pro or free. Again, if I change the little toggles here and just look for free things, it will then just show me the free stuff. So let's grab a little rainbow cake. Kind of cute. Now, suddenly this Canva template doesn't look anything like the template it was before, just by simply replacing it with one thing. And I could maybe call this the Pride Festival. Bake Off. And it's a completely different topic now than what it was. I can change any of these different fonts. If I don't like them, I can change them to something which suits more my style. And I can change this background to something that's a little less wishy-washy. I want to make it a bit blue or orange, probably not orange. That looks a bit disgusting. Maybe a green. That orange there looks good. And change my fonts if I wish to make it white there. So it stands out that little bit more. And then I've created what is essentially my own spin on a Canva graphic. So that's really good. So that's a Facebook post, that particular one. Now, one of the beautiful things that will now allow me to do, because it's being shaped especially for Facebook, it's now setting me up to be able to publish this directly to Facebook. So I publish to Facebook, it's going to ask me to connect through to my particular Facebook account and my Facebook pages that I can select. So I can publish that directly from here into Facebook. And the beautiful thing is it allows me to schedule it as well. I don't have to post it straight away. I can schedule it at a specific time and date. So the Facebook post size, that gives you just the right size for Facebook. But what if Facebook isn't what we're working with? What if we're working with something else like Instagram? Instagram works fantastic in both the post, which is 1080 by 1080, which is basically one-to-one, or I might look at it and go, I'm actually looking to create an Instagram story. Now, Instagram story, vastly different shape to an Instagram post. So an Instagram story will look a little bit like this. So it's a much, much different shape. It's a sort of shape that's going to be the shape of a mobile phone, essentially. Now, immediately what it's done is giving me templates that work with that shape, based a little bit on what I've worked with before. So these are recommendations based on things that I've done before. So let's just say I want to pick up something for my cafe for coffee. So this is a special one. This one's actually got animations in it. So it's got little movement in the background that you might be able to make out. It's actually a video. So I can change any of these elements yet again. So instead of that orange background down there, I'm going to make it a black one. Make it stand out a bit more. I'm going to make this top bit, it's got like a bit of an orange wash over it. I'm going to change that to a green wash. So it's completely different feel now. And these backgrounds behind where it says free coffee upsize, I'm going to turn those black as well. So essentially what I've done, I've taken a template, completely and utterly changed it to something which is not anywhere near what it was before. It's like vaguely, I guess, like it, but it's just not really the same template we started with. It's a completely different look now. So that's where you can do that. You can then go forward and change any of those things, changing out Crane Bakery. I can add another logo. So I'm just going to type in logo just to get a generic one from somewhere else. Let's just say that's my logo for my business. In it goes, I've got a completely different idea. Now, what I can do with this particular one, because it is animated, I can save this as a video, and it's actually defaulted it to an 8.3 second looping video. Can I save it as, I'm going to say coffee story as the name of the file. Then I can play that to see what it's going to look like. So it comes in like that. So it's really cool. It looks really dynamic. It works great. But what if I don't want to work with a video? I want to actually download this. So it's naturally going to download as a video because it's got animation. But what if I just want a static image? I can override this by going, instead of MP4 video, I can go, yeah, stuff it. I want to get myself a static image, say a PNG or a JPEG, or even a PDF. I'm going to pull down a PDF, a PNG. What it's going to do, it's going to remove the animation. So it'll keep the elements in there, but it won't animate it. So let's download that and we'll open it up and let's see what that looks like as a PNG, as opposed to as a video. That was just on the wrong screen. I'll drag it on the right screen. Hopefully you can see that. It's still got the squiggle on it. The difference is it's not moving. So I've got now a nice straight copy of that, but not as a video, but as a graphic. But let's just say I do want to download it as a video. I can do that. Just download MP4 video, and it will now compile that project, send it into a video, and download it for me. So you don't have to go with what the default option is. You can go with an option that is a little bit different and just make it a static graphic if you want to. Or particularly if you're working with things like logos, where you're creating what's called scalable vector graphic or an SVG file. They quite often are something which is infinitely scalable. So you can make it so it's really, really, really big or really, 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 really small. So let's let this save. It's taking a bit of a while to save. Once I get on the next thing, The next thing I'm going to show you is actually how to work with things like transparent backgrounds, and they can really help you to replace things like logos on your website. Julie's asking about replacing a photo. Is it sent to the back under the graphics or delete the default pic? Best practice. I always delete the default pic because you can always recreate a new one from the base template anyway. So if you wanted to, I just work with what I'm working with. It creates a copy of it. And then those original templates, you can just go through and use that template from Canva again without having to always use your particular version of it. I'll show you, as we're doing all this, I'll go back to the home screen, give it a refresh, and you'll see that in my recent designs, it will update my recent designs to show the things I've been working on. So I was playing with the Clubhouse expert panel thing. I was playing with the little title with the lightning bolt through it. We saw, I'll make this a bit bigger so you can see it. We were seeing then my classes thing, the Pride Festival Bake Off, we can see that. And then over here, it's still generating a preview of this particular thing we're working on. It hasn't yet downloaded. It's still trying to get that last couple of seconds to get it going. But as we know, that's just going to do that in the background. And eventually it'll pop down into my computer and we'll have a copy of that on the computer to upload to wherever I want as an MP4 file. So after we look at that, we go, well, we've got this. What we want to do is turn this now into a Instagram static, like a regular feed post. So if I really, really like that design and I really, really like the things that are in it, I'm just going to copy this and cancel. What I want to do now is create an Instagram post that's in the feed, but I want that same look and feel. I want that same kind of stuff in it. So how do I do that? Well, I pick up all these items in here and I can copy them across. So if I just grab everything that I possibly can, it'll grab me everything I think except for the background. Go copy or Control C, or you can just right click and go copy like that. Pop into the new file, paste. Now it's going to put what it can in there, and then I can move stuff around to suit it. So to get that in the right, I want that background color to be that same green that I had. So pick up the green. Then I can move things around as I see fit to fit the shape that I was trying to work with. So we've got a big coffee here, and I make him a bit bigger. Fill up some more space. Enjoy this treat. Do the words down there. So then I'm at least taking the same theme and just carrying it to a different shape. If I want to keep my little squiggle, I can make my little squiggle a bit bigger. And then move my free coffee upsize. So just hold down the shift key to select multiple elements. And then I'm going to expand that out to make it a bit bigger. Now I might want to go, you know what, this doesn't really suit the shape because it's not quite there. I can turn this around to make it point a bit better. But what I really want to do is kind of get all this free coffee and upsize in the same line. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put them all in the same line. So then I can stretch it right across. So now it's going to be a lot easier to read. And I might want to put my little logo down the corner rather than on top. So I can grab these guys again, drag it up the top so it fills it up a bit more, make my coffee cup a bit bigger, and probably make this writing a little bit bigger so it just really stands out and it's understood. Notice how when I do this, the guidelines come up that actually fill like the middle part, and that's the reason what they call a safe zone. We'll get rid of that logo. The safe zone means that on all sorts of different varieties is how you can then go and fit things so they center just right. So little guidelines, you can see it, the pink one in the center is telling me that's lined up exactly even with that particular coffee cup. And then I've created basically a version of this now to suit just a square. So you can copy any of those elements across, and then you just do a bit of a fiddle, and then off you go. Julie's asked another question. Thanks, Julie. I really appreciate the questions. Just because no one else is asking, if the photo doesn't fit the Canva template photo size, what's the best way to crop the photo to fit the template? So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. The first thing would be, let's create, say, an Instagram post. Now we're going to grab, this is a square, but the photos we might find in here, let's see some uploads of some photos I've actually done. So for instance, this photo here is very bright, but it's not going to fit that shape, right? Because if I stretch that out, it's not going to fill it up. What I can do instead is I pick up the photo and actually just drop it onto the space and it crops it to the right size to fit it. So I'll do that again. I pick up the photo. Here's one of Dolly Parton. I'll pick up Dolly, drop her in, and it fits to the space. Now, I might want Dolly at the center. I don't want it off center like that. So I just double click on Dolly and then drag her across. And then she starts to fit right in the center so I can get everything from manicured fingertip to manicured fingertip. And I've got it exactly sitting where I want it to sit. Now, at the same time, double click again. I can make her bigger if I want to just zero in on a certain part of her. So for instance, we'll just like the above the waist. And then I'll go done. Now I've got that cropped into the size I want. So the beautiful thing about Canva is that it will create your image as a background. So if I want to grab any one of these images that are all the wrong shape, like this one from the REIQ, doesn't sit really well, doesn't look great, but I want to zero in on him. Then I've got ability to be able to drag it across and zero in on him. So that's the best way to crop something that doesn't fit the template. Quite often what you'll get is a full template. So let's pick out a Instagram shaped template that's got a photo in it. So for instance, this one. So this one's actually got a photo that's in what's called a frame. And in this frame, it's been chopped to make it fit within this circle. So if I tap on there, we'll see that that's actually it's a photo which fills up a lot more space than just that circle. If I want to replace that, let's just grab another photo that's random, say, of a girl in a lavender field. I can pick that up and just drop it in, and it puts her into that same space. Double click on her, drag her across if I want to see more of her in there, or if I want to see her bigger, so I can stretch it out. Drag her across. So the highlighted area you can see is what you're actually going to get. Done. And then we've got a completely different image in there. So that could be the same as like the photos that are in the library, or they could just be the photos you've uploaded yourself. So for instance, the photo I uploaded of Tracy before, sure she'll love me using her as an example. Pick her up, dump her in there, and there you go. Completely different look again. And because she's going for teal colors, I can replace all the colors around her with the photo colors. Now, this is one thing I love that Canva does. It's already picked up over here on the left. So if I zero in on that, what the colors are in the photo. So it's got her skin tones, her hair tones, the dress tone, and the background tones as well. So I can then match all this in here to match her tones. Bang. Change this to color that. Change this to a color that suits more what she's doing. Changing Willa de Silva to a color that's more like her from the photo. And immediately we've got a different looking photo. I can even grab that little circle and change that to maybe the light color. There we go. Now we're making Canva our own. We're not just copying what's in a template and using it just ad hoc. Because what we do is we find the same stuff appearing all the time, the same layouts, the same stuff, and it all looks a little bit like, you know, people with MacBook Pros with desks that are immaculately white and clean with little flowers on them, and it starts to look really same old, same old. When you take this and you actually make these changes, use your own photos, and then the beauty of it, being able to use colors that have been actually dragged out from the photo you put in, that's when you're able to deliver a product that looks so much nicer and so much more customized to you. If we grab, for instance, a photo of me, that will change again. So now if I go to look at the colors, it's pulling out the colors of my photo. So it's picked out the Facebook blue, a brown, I'm assuming of what it thinks my hair or the dark tones of my skin is. The orange of my skin, I must be Donald Trump. And black hair, maybe, it's pulled out. But they at least match better than what, say, the teal does. So if I grab this one as a background, this one, I'll grab from the photo as well. I might change this to be that lighter tone. There we go. Or maybe the blue from Facebook. Grab the blue from Facebook again. That fills it up. No, I don't want that. Control Z to undo that. What I want is this circle, this bit. And I might grab maybe this color. So I've now got, again, something which has been completely changed to something that actually suits what my brand is, what my image is, what my sort of approach is. And I can then change it through those different colors from my photo. So now it's looking a lot more like my Facebook stuff. So I'm actually matching now what the brand of Facebook is when I'm doing work for them. And of course, when we pick this whole thing over and move it around, it doesn't have to sit right exactly there. It just looks really nice and even when it's placed there. So you've now got something that's very you rather than just the template you've got. So what are some other things we can do? There's other things you can create like flyers, posters, resumes. Let's take a look at, say, maybe creating a poster for your business. So the first thing we do is go, poster is this size. So it's about A4 up to A3 size, right? So we then pick out what kind of poster do we want. Do we want an informational thing, a missing dog one? Do we want to go maybe something for a show, something that's actually going to be about a particular event, or just want to have a message on it? So we pick out the one we want. This one for a festival. I like this one, Summer Sounds Festival. It's pretty. Pop that in there. And now we can change that into, of course, what we want it to be. The background, I don't like that color. I want to be darker. So I'm going to go darker. There we go. Now I can start pulling out all the different elements and changing to what I want it to be. Because I've changed the majority color from that really light background to a really dark one, it's completely reskinned the whole thing. It's made the whole thing look a little bit more different than what it did before. I also want these flowers in the background. They look really, really muted. So at the moment, if I double click on that, it's actually a much brighter photo than what it was. So what I've done, what it's done is I've used transparency to make that bring forward the dark background. So if I go up here, so I've clicked on that particular element, the roses. If I click up here, I'll notice it's only 20%, 28% filled in. If I make that forward, look, it lights it up, makes it much more bright. Then I've got something which looks a lot more bright and colorful. I can then grab this if I want that to stand out. There's an effect that creates shadows underneath that text. There are effects. And I can create an outline, a shadow, this shadow. This makes it stand out just a little bit more. I can make my words go around in a circle, which actually looks awesome. And to make it even fit better, I might go, well, I need a bit of a background there. So because it's a circle, let's go the elements and look for a circle. There's a shape, that's a circle. That sits almost perfectly over the top. Center it, turn it black. Send it. Now, what I can do is with the layers, I can send that backwards. So at the moment it's sitting on top. I can send it backwards one. There we go. There we've got a festival logo. If I think it's a bit too black, I want it to make it like a little bit so it doesn't stand quite so weirdly. I can then take that black, not that one, this one. Where's the black bit? There we go. And then change that transparency up and down a bit. So I can make it appear the way I want it to appear. Let's bring that aside, get my circle. There we go, that's an after. Take it down a bit so it's just a little bit of a highlight. I can still see the flowers under it. And boom, we've got a whole new approach to it. Yeah, because I don't really want to have that one. It's kind of messed it up a little. So I can just change it to any sort of other ones that sort of fit the theme that I'm going for. And at line height, if I think those lines are too far apart, this line height here is the spacing. We can change that down to something that's going to sit a bit closer. Much better, huh? So I've now created essentially what is a very different looking poster. If I want to go a step further, I can grab another photo or a background of some sort. So if I go background and it has all these different backgrounds here, if I want to take something a bit more texture than just a gray background, I'll just pick up this one, which is like a gray texture. And I've created essentially a very, very different feel for a very cool idea. And it doesn't look anything really like the original one did. I've come and created something completely fresh and completely new. If I want it to be a little bit more, I don't know, like a highlight, because it's going to be a show. As you change those backgrounds, it completely changes the mood of the photo that you're working with. Take something a bit like this, completely different again. Some bright fairy lights. Oops. Let's try that again. Drop it in. Got fairy lights. Again, a completely different feel for it. Or if I'm doing something for a kid's school, there you go. A few crayons on it. So you can completely and utterly change the entire mood and theme of any one of these templates just by changing one or two elements that are really quite heavily defined, especially when you're looking at the background. The background is such a heavy element in there that you can make it look just like you want it to look like. If you've got particular brand colors you want to work with, yep, you can do that as well. We can pull out what the photo is. There's no particular photo in there, but if I change that, it's got the color photo from the background. There's the range of colors. So if I wanted to change, say, the font in here to suit better against the colors from the photo, I can pick that color out. And then I've got a pink. I'll turn off that effect though. It looks kind of ugly. Look at that. That's one of my favorite ones, I have to admit. Change the white, and it looks really, really good. So we've created a completely different poster based upon something that originally looked like, and I'll completely wipe out my work here and replace it with this. That's what it originally looked like. That or that. Kind of similar, but completely different at the same time. And this is what we sort of say when I'm talking about Canva clones. Most people who use Canva are just going to go straight there and do this. They're not going to bother to change anything. They'll just change a few words and go, yeah, that looks fine. I'm going to work with that. But if you just do a few little tweaks and changes, you can have a much brighter, much more brand oriented and much more unique layout than what you would if you were doing that. I reckon it's not time for more. We've still got 15, 13 minutes to go. So let's throw in a few more examples. Pop in the home screen. Let's look at what else there is that's available. Let's say, for instance, a video. So a video, this is a fairly new part of Canva. They've been able to export videos for a while from animations, but the actual thing of creating a full video for something like YouTube, that's completely new. So let's see what some of the things they've got as layouts for you. We're going to look for maybe travel. So in travel, here's a whole bunch of videos they've got made up for travel. I'm going to pick out this one because it looks like it's fun, it's standing out to me. So this is just a video, which is like an ad or some sort. So I can change the background of that into something else if I've loaded up my own video, or I might go to the library of videos that they've currently got. So go to my audio videos, and I look for sunset. So I'm looking for a sunset video. So let's look at this one. I pick it up, dump it in there, and it becomes a completely different video again. Change that to white text. Chase it to chase the tropical change those all things to different colors, maybe make it something that matches those colors a bit more. Now notice that when I do this, it hasn't brought the photo options because it's not a photo, it's a video. So I can look for, okay, there's a lot of pinks and purples in there. So I'll grab sort of darky bluey purple colors. Something that looks a bit more like what's actually in there. Darky bluey purple again. And then I can change all these, change that to white writing. And now I'm left with something which, again, has a completely different mood, a completely different theme than what we had before. Oops. Like, try to get all these elements are sort of hiding in there. There's so many different layers. Come on, we can get it. Maybe make that yellow or orange. Anything that really stands out, and they've created a whole different thing. So this one here, maybe orange, yellow, and then make that white. And we have a completely different mood, completely different video. And when we go to download that, that downloads as an MP4 video of 9.4 seconds. Now, if I want to create another scene for that, so I want that 9.4 seconds to go, I can then add another page. So down the bottom here, it's got another page I can add. So up the top, it's got this. The next scene might be something more like me grabbing another video from somewhere else. So this one panning around the sunset. And I just want it to show maybe my logo. So let's see if I've got a logo here in my folders. Got tons of logos, a lot of logos. So I'll look at that and go, well, that's really great. That's one of my logos. I'm happy with that, but it's a bit dark. Like if I play that, it doesn't really stand out all that much. Wouldn't that be nicer if that was white? So what I can do to create a white version from that black version, tap on it, I'm going to click the filter or the effects. So in the effects, it's going to bring up a bunch of effects that are going to change the status of this particular logo. What I want to do in this duotone section is pick a really light color. So maybe the pink or the orange. It's going to change it to orange. Now I want it to be white. It didn't give me the option to do white, but I'm going to pick white, pick orange because it's the lightest color I can see in there. Maybe that pink is. And then I can make an adjustment through adjust up here. At adjust, I can go brightness, completely bright, lots of contrast, and no saturation, and then it's changed it to white. So now I've got my white logo that I wanted. I can move it around and put it in the middle, and now it's going to play that particular scene. Go play, and now my logo is right there. Another little thing I can do is animate that logo. So I will go back through that color change because that's a bit of a trick that I discovered. With this, I can make this. Let's go again. I'll take that out. I'll add in this logo again. So this one, first thing I do is go to effects. So this is only going to really work for you if you're trying to get something which is colored or black and you want to change it to white. So this is my trick. Make sure it's selected. Go up the top left to effects. So I'll make it a bit bigger so you can see what's going on. Effects. Over here, you've got duotone. I'm just going to go across until I find a really light one, which I picked orange or pink. So it's now changed that to an orange overlay. Now what I want to do is adjust it, make it bright, wait for that to adjust. So it's going to make it super bright. You got orange. So I've made it like really light. And then I want to change the contrast to full, and then it's gone white for me. If I really want to be really like perfectly technical, I turn the saturation down to 0. But really you can probably, if it's light enough, you can usually get away with going 100% bright, 100% contrast, and then I'm left with a white one instead. So that way, you've got the ability to take what is a dark logo and turn it into a light one if you need it. So now if I play that, if I wanted to now play this whole thing, it goes for 20.4 seconds in this first bit. The whole thing, 9.4 seconds. And this one goes for 11 seconds. Now that's too long. I don't like that. It's too long. I want it to go for no longer than 10 seconds for the whole thing. I want the first screen to go for 6 seconds and the second screen to go to 4. So I go back to my first screen and then select the video. And now I've selected the video in the background. It's given me this little crop tool up the top here. So I'm going to take this and decrease that 9.4 seconds to 6. And I was going to tell, well, which 6 seconds do you want? I'll just take the first 6. That's fine. So immediately now I've got a 6 second. It's cut down the whole thing from 20 seconds to 17. Now go to the second page. Remember that I want to make this one only 4 seconds. I want the whole thing to be 10 seconds. Tap on the video again. Go and crop it again down to 4 seconds. I'll just take the first 4 seconds. That's fine. And now I've got a 10-second video. So if I play this as a complete video, it's going to play 6 seconds for this, and then it's going to cut over to the other one for 4 seconds. And now I've got the video I actually want. Nice, huh? It just makes it that little bit nicer. Now, what it's shown us here is these ideas of fade and animate. So this first one, I'm going to go fade. What I want it to do is to fade out to the next page. So I want it to do maybe a baseline, maybe not, like popping like that. That just changes the elements in it. Things run in. I can have things like that. I actually quite like that one. On the second one, I want to animate something. It's going to give me the idea that I can take this element. Oops, and go back. I'm going to take this element and make it do other things. So I can go a block where it comes in. Hopefully it's going to show me how to do this. Breathe, comes in like that, so it zeroes in. I can pan it so it comes across, rise it from below, tumble it in, make it just sort of drift across the screen, stomp it in place, which is kind of cool. Bit of a tectonic shift. Do what's called a baseline, a pop, which is kind of cool. I like the pop. So now if I play the whole thing, I've got different effects, different animations going on. And then it pops. So animate appears when you just open up the frame. So this particular frame, and it's got pop up here because I've selected it. But that would normally say animate. And I can change that to one of the other ones. So maybe zoom is what I want. Zooms the whole thing in and then zooms in my logo, or makes the whole thing rise and then zooms in my logo, or stomp, which is kind of cool. So I play it again, different for 6 seconds, comes on like a fluorescent light, and then pops into my second screen. And I can keep making these screens. It's really going to only become very valuable up to about 10 scenes. After that, it starts to slow down a bit. It becomes a little harder used. But isn't that fun? A way that you can create now videos without a second video piece of software, all within Canva itself. And none of these things look pretty much anything like the things I did when I picked them up from there. Like I can take all these things out, but I don't really need them all. Make this in the center align the text. And I've got a completely and utterly different set of scenes than I had before because I've created it to make it look like my thing. So you can do all these things in Canva as well. It's just a matter of choosing what you want to do with these things and not going just with the plain everyday, oh, let's create an Instagram story. Let's pick out exactly the thing we're looking for. Like, let's pick a picture of pretty stuff and just take it as it is. The minute you start changing things, you create your own look. Instead of that, let's make it a different background color, make it blue. Change your fonts to something that suits you, not Poppins, but change it over to, I don't know, SF Pro. Whatever you're going to do to make it look that little bit different. And feel free to pop in some stuff and take some stuff out. That little rip there, I don't need it. That little rip there, I don't need it. This little hello thing, I want it in a different font. So I'm going to choose something which is in handwritten. And I can pick a different font, so it's Beth Ellen. So that's a horrible one to take that one. But that might be the one you want. Or TC Milo might be the one you want. And then you've created again something which is uniquely very you. And while you're in it, use some elements. In the elements, you've got lots of great things called stickers. They pick out all those stickers. We can go, okay, I want to have a little turtle climbing across mine and turn it into a video. So I'll take my turtle once he shows up. Come on, turtle. Oh, it is. It's popped out. I'm going to stick him down the bottom instead of the main in Canva. And I've got a cute little turtle at the bottom that's going to continue loop over for that 5 seconds of that particular video. And because it's a turtle, let's make this background a little bit more green, just in respect for the little fella. And how different now does our little template look than what it looked like before? You created essentially your own feel, your own look, and you haven't just gone down the path of the Canva clone. So that brings us to the end of this particular one. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I know that it takes a bit of time to out of your businesses to learn stuff to work on your businesses. So I can see you on the screen now. If it just lost my Zoom. There we go. Hi. If you would like to go a bit more deeply into this, of course, you can use the ASBAS Digital Solutions program to do one-on-ones with myself and other advisors just like me. You can look us up through businessstation.com.au or to go straight to the ASBAS stuff, ASBAS, ASBAS.com.au, and then you can either log in or register for that. And your first one of these one-to-one sessions will be free if you've never done one before with the with this program. And anything after that first free one is $44 for the second and $66 for any of those after it. I welcome you making inquiries. Drop me an email. I'm going to put my email address right here on the screen through the chat window where you can see it'll be dante@treaty.com.au. I know Julia, I've got some stuff that I've already had in touch with her, but if anyone else in the room, and there's a few of you, wanted to be able to get in touch with me, Dante@treaty.com.au. I'll send it through you so you can just copy and paste it. It'll flash up on your screen in a second. There you go. That's all I need you to do. Have a look at that. See if you can see if there's anything you want to ask about Canva. I'll be happy to answer you, no cost at all. But if you'd like a full hour of me just to yourself, go through the ASBAS thing, which is asbas.com.au, and you'll be able to find your way to booking myself or any one of the amazing advisors that are there to help you out as well. Thank you again, and have a great, great night. See you later.